Hello and welcome to another TLDR EU video. With the coronavirus continuing to plague countries across Europe, certain things have seemingly slipped under the radar. One of them being a substantial oil spill in the Arctic Circle, turning rivers a crimson red. So in this video, we're going to be looking at exactly what's happened and what the future holds. Before we start though, a little promo. This is the TLDR EU channel, and obviously one of the biggest EU stories of recent years is Brexit. We've covered the topic extensively, so we thought it would be fun to make something around that theme. So we made Brexit, the colouring book. Not only does our new book give you the opportunity to keep yourself busy while locked inside, it also comes with a load of information taking you through the timeline of Brexit, and also you get access to an exclusive video only for people who bought the book. Find out more by clicking the link in the description. So, first things first, what happened? It all comes down to a fuel storage tank at a heat and power plant near the Russian city of Norilsk. In order to contain a continuous supply of energy to the power plant, a number of diesel reserve tanks were installed near the plant. On the 29th of May, a so-called incident occurred, whereby, according to the company, due to sudden subsidence of supports, which served for more than 30 years without problems, the diesel storage tank was damaged, resulting in a fuel leak. The belief being that this sudden subsidence arose from melting permafrost, with the chief operating officer commenting, "We can assume that abnormally mild temperatures could have caused permafrost thawing, resulting in partial subsidence of the tank's supports, and that the tank was otherwise functional. The tank is inspected every other year. There's a whole list of criteria for the inspection, which normally results in the tank tagged as serviceable." With approximately 55% of Russian territory being permafrost, much of Russian infrastructure is built on continuously frozen ground. Recent warm spells have caused otherwise frozen ground to soften and buckle under the weight of buildings, in this case causing the oil tank to break and leading to oil spreading some 20 kilometers, spilling into the Arctic Ocean. This, however, is nothing truly unexpected. The Arctic Monitoring and Assessment Programme, a working group of the Arctic Council, published a report on snow, water and permafrost in the Arctic, with an entire chapter on changing permafrost and its impacts. Commenting directly on Russia, the report highlights how warming of permafrost can therefore decrease the ability of foundations to support structures to an extent that they may not have anticipated at the time of construction. Put simply, permafrost is getting weaker and simply can't hold the same weight and structures it could back when the designs were being drawn up. Something again reiterated in a report by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. Permafrost is undergoing rapid change, creating challenges for planners, decision makers and engineers. The observed changes threaten structural stability and functional capacities of infrastructures, in particular that which is located on ice-rich frozen ground. Onshore hydrocarbon extraction and transportation in the Russian Arctic are at risk. 45% of oil and natural gas production fields in the Russian Arctic are located in the highest hazard zone. Russia's newest oil infrastructure has been built with this in mind, with, at the Yamal LNG plant, piles driven up to 28 metres into the permafrost, kept cold by a thermosphion system, ensuring that a failure on the type scene at Norilsk can't happen again. Russian prosecutors, invariably bearing in mind this risk potential, have ordered checks at particularly dangerous installations built on permafrost, with assessments on company adherence to safety laws, environmental monitoring and emergency measures, as well as the overall effectiveness of state monitoring. But this current issue isn't going away, and the spill has begun to spread and is at risk of spreading into the Arctic Ocean. As of the 9th of June, the oil spill has spread some 20 kilometers or 12 miles from the collapsed fuel tank and has already polluted a large freshwater lake with over 21,000 tons, contaminating the nearby Ambronaya River and surrounding soil. Any clean-up efforts are also being hampered by strong winds, with the first Deputy Emergency Minister saying, "The spill is constantly migrating. Today we clean up the spot at one place, tomorrow at another. We have to move constantly, and it means moving both people and equipment. The oil and gas program leader at WWF Russia believes that as things stand, only a third of the leaked oil can be cleaned up. We're dealing with a spill of diesel fuel, and this type of oil evaporates quite quickly. In just 2 weeks, everything that has not been removed from the water will go into the air. Now rescuers tell us that gas contamination is very high in the area of the spill, and that they have to work in gas masks. This proves that evaporation, even in cold conditions of the Arctic, is happening very quickly. Vladimir Putin subsequently ordered a state of emergency and quickly lambasted Sergei Lepin, chief executive of the subsidiary operating the plant, for covering up the spill. Why did the authorities only learn about this 2 days after the fact? What are we going to learn about the emergency situations from social media now? With Putin in a televised meeting with the company's chief executive and largest shareholder, Vladimir Putins, getting a further dressing down. You said that the cleanup will cost billions. And how much does one container you're going to change cost? One fuel reservoir costs several times less. It's just not comparable. If you'd replaced it on time, there wouldn't have been any environmental damage, and the company wouldn't have to spend so much. Pay as much attention to this as possible inside the company. The power plant's director has also been taken into custody, with the Russian Investigative Committee launching a criminal case into pollution and alleged negligence. The former head of Russia's environmental watchdog said that there had never been such an accident in the Arctic Circle, and the cleanup could cost in the region of 100 billion rubles, or £1.2 billion, over up to 10 years. The United States has extended an arm of support, with the Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, writing on Twitter, "Saddened to hear about the fuel in Norilsk, Russia. Despite our disagreements, the United States stands ready to assist Russia to mitigate this environmental disaster and offer our technical expertise." This, however, isn't the first time that something like this has happened. Back in 2016, the exact same company publicly admitted that heavy rains caused a filtration dam to overflow, causing another river to turn blood red. When it comes to long-term impacts, it's anyone's guess. No one knows how far the spill will reach, and what the exact economic, but above all environmental costs will be. We also don't know how Russia will respond, how companies and government will try to prevent what could be an ongoing issue for a country built on so much now melting permafrost. What do you think of this situation? Do you think that Russia has done enough to prevent this kind of issue from occurring in the future? Or do you have sympathy for a nation having to handle such a monumental challenge? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and as always, you can also get involved on Discord. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon for more TLDR EU updates in the future. Also, if you want to find more from us across other social networks, simply search for TLDR News. Special thanks to our Patreon backers who make videos like this one possible.